I'm Rebecca, and I want to show you how to make this special container with this pair of lips to help remind you as you go in and out your doors that we need to have good language that's helpful, because Ephesians 4:29 tells us not to use foul or abusive language, but to let everything you say be good and helpful so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. So if you make this little container with your lips to remind you about your words and fill it with mints, you can put it by your door, and it can remind everyone that goes in and out your door that they need to be using good and helpful language. So to make this container, we're going to start by making the inside portion of the container, which you'll see here. You're going to take a paper that's 6 inches long and 2.5 inches wide. Once you've cut it, we have to score it. So there's a few different ways you can score it, and I'm going to show you each of them. One is on a scoring board. If I'm using a scoring board, I'm going to score it at 1.5 inches and at 4.5 inches on the long direction. But then I have to score a 1/4 inch gully on each side. And when I do that, my scoring board doesn't have a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go to the 1/4 inch mark. And if I do the 1/4 inch mark, the 1/2 inch is actually 1/4 inch away from that. And at the same time, the 2.5 inch mark also gives me a 1/4 inch on the other side of your paper. So that's how I would score it with a scoring board. But if I don't have a scoring board, I can also use a paper trimmer. And if I have a paper trimmer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my paper in, and this is what would be where it would cut if I had this down. But if I don't have that down, I can actually take a pen without a point on it, and I can use that to also score. Again, I'm going to score this paper at 1.5 inches, and then I'll move it to 4.5 inches, and I will score it at 4.5 inches. And then again, I still need those 1/4 inches on each side. So I will put it in at just a 1/4 inch, and I will score it on the side at a 1/4 inch, and then I'll turn it around and I will score it on the side at a 1/4 inch. If I don't have either of these methods for scoring the paper, I will take a ruler, and I can use a ruler to score, but what I'm going to have to do is mark it. So I'm going to mark my paper at 1.5 inches and 4.5 inches in 2 spots so that I have an even line to go across. And then I will take my ruler across that line, and I will fold it up, and I will do the same thing at the other end of the paper. Then I need to do my 1/4 inches. So again, I will mark my paper at a 1/4 inch from each side in a couple places on my paper so that I can have a line to fold against my ruler with. And I will take my ruler there, and in this case it's actually probably easier if I put my ruler down and I fold up towards the 1.5 inches instead of trying to fold the 1.5 inches under. And I will do that on both sides of my paper. Once I have my papers scored, there are 4 areas where the score marks come together, and at those areas I want to just take a little scissors and I want to cut just a little notch in a triangle shape that only goes as far as that score line, and on both sides. This will give my paper a little bit of room for those bends across my container. Now, the next part is gluing your actual bottom to your container. So I am using a glue tape. You can also use liquid glue, but when you use liquid glue, it will take a little bit longer to dry, and you'll probably need to hold the container in place a little while to have it dry. So I'm going to take my take my glue on one side of the container. And I'm going to start with the middle line. I want to put the middle line along the bottom of this lips so that I get the bottom of my container. And then I'm going to angle up at those notches, the sides, to form the sides of my container. And I'll angle that up on each side so that I have sides to my container. Once I've done one side and it is dry, I'm going to do the other side. So again, if I was using liquid glue, it would take a little bit longer for that side to dry. Now you'll see this time, the angles are actually kind of naturally in your paper because of having the other side done. So I'm going to take that and glue that across, and you'll just see the papers will just go into place on the second lip. And there you have your lips container.